Okay, so today is what, July 7th, Saturday, and it's 2018, and have so much to say. There's so much to say. It's been an interesting day. It's been a very interesting day. I started out, of course, I had to go to um, up towards the northern part of North Carolina. Um, when I went up north, I realized that partly the reason why they were having me to go north and then go south in North Carolina was specifically to try to do what they call fragmenting, or splitting of yourself. So naturally, I still have to work anyway because I have to find or do something anyway so that I can find, have some means of pulling in funds, because I'm waiting on unemployment and it's not guaranteed. And so I'm not gonna wait around to find out whether or not I've been approved or denied for it. So anyway, so I ended up going up north, and of course there were setups up, all along there. But the whole thing today was they were trying to make me angry at my cousin, like anything that they could find. But today it just had to be my cousin. And I know that she's played a part in this whole thing. I know, especially going back to what my aunt had mentioned when I was living at her place, something about how my cousin no longer has anything to do with her home, which I believe in to some degree, but at the same token I don't. And I realized that the entire time that Nicole was working at Camp Lejeune, she was being trained to be another perp, for lack of better phrasing. And so, it was just kind of incredulous that lately they've really been trying to push that, like anything to make me upset, anything to make me angry. And I've always loved my cousin. My cousin and I used to do so much together when we were younger. It wasn't even funny. Like, we went to camps together. We went to Camp Friendship together. We would hang out together. We did a lot together. I know, I never, like I said, as in my previous videos, I never really fitted in, but I didn't really think too much about it, didn't really care too much about it. And so it was just nice that, she and I could get along and spend time together and share things together and just, goof around and whatever else. And I didn't, we kept in touch a little bit growing up, but not very much because, of course we were in entirely different states and living entirely different lives, and so it was hard to keep in touch. And I kind of got the sense at one point in my life that she didn't really want to be talking to me anyway. So I said, okay, in so many ways, and so just we kind of sort of fell out of touch for a while. And she went her way and I went my way. And I went on with my life, and next thing I knew, she was getting older and she was going off to meet with my family. And I remember my mother going up to Canada with Nicole, and it was something that I had wanted to do. It was something that I was supposed to do with my mother, was to go up to Canada and get and go see my aunt up there. And instead it was Nicole, which it wasn't really that big of a deal anyway, but it was just the point that was like, oh, that's kind of strange. Why wouldn't you, go with your daughter, or something like that. And I still don't have a passport, by the way, and they keep trying to hold me back from having any kind of a passport, which is even more ironic. Because you would think that, if they think that I'm this horrible person or whatever, they keep trying to call me treasonous or whatever else, that, you know, you'd think that they would want, they've pushed every other unpatriot out of the country. Why wouldn't they try to push me? I'm not unpatriotic. Like I said, I love this country. I'm just appalled that I'm being treated this way for no reason in particular, except for the fact that I opened my mouth and, you know, spoke the truth about the things that were going on with our government and a lot of other people, and they didn't like that. And so, like I said, you would think that they would, you know, try to push me out of the country. And yet, instead, they're like, oh, let's just play games with her since she's still here in the country. Anyway, so all day, and I see her in spirit, and I see them in spirit doing crazy things, but all day long, it's been this whole, you know, who do you, you know, trying to make me angry at anything, because they were having a hard time getting me angry at anything because I was having a good day. And so let's, you know, get her angry at Nicole, because it's, you know, she's part of the whole process. The next thing I know, my mom tried to contact me. I didn't want to have anything to do with her. And, you know, of course, then they're trying to use that against me as a biblical thing. And it's not even, it's totally manipulated, so it's not even biblical. You know, it's just manipulation. It's just a attempt to control, trying to say that I'm not obeying my family or not having anything to do with my family, or trying to make me out to be narcissistic, when that's not the case. It's just that the majority of the people that I'm running into are people that have been set up to try to harm me in some strange way. So it's like, how am I supposed to even, you know what I mean? I mean, I'll still continue to be kind and do what I'm supposed to do, but, you know, that doesn't make me narcissistic either, just because they've set up people to try to make me seem or be perceived as such. Anyway, so today, their whole thing was, you know, let's make her angry at her cousin, let's bring up all this shit. And of course, you know, I went through the whole, that stupid thought process that they keep trying to force onto me of, you know, who are you angry at, and let's get you angry at somebody, and let's get you to, you know, think things, and we're going to hold those thoughts against you, kind of a thing. God doesn't even do that. Anyway, so I was like, all right, we'll just, you know, let this go. Well, the next thing I know, Nicole contacts me, because I didn't contact my mother. And I knew that, I already knew in some way, shape, or form that Nicole had something to do with this whole thing. And it was just further confirmation that, you know, after my mother contacted me, and she didn't receive a response, and Nicole contacted me, I think that they're trying to just get any kind of response, any kind of a reaction, whether I ignore them or not, or whether I respond to them or not. Then it's like they think that they, you know, have some way to control me, and they don't. But it's just the point of the matter that that's what's been, that's what they're doing. And so, and then I could see her in spirit, like actually, like holding a phone, trying to manipulate me with her cell phone in spirit. And it was like, are you serious? Are you absolutely serious? I've known you for the majority of my life. And to come to find out that, oh, this whole time you've been involved in this. And that was the reason why you were at Camp Lejeune. That's the reason why you were, you know, employed with your, by Jose there. They're all working together, that entire, the Cabrera family, this whole time. And that's what made me more upset than anything, is that I've known them for years, adored them, thought they were the best family on the earth, you know? And that's the sad thing. That's what's really sad about the whole thing, is that, like, you know, I grew up with them, I love them, you know, always thought very highly of them, and they were one of the most put together families that I had ever, you know, known. Of course, that's part of my family. One of my favorites, my favorite aunt, one of my favorite aunts, and, you know, my favorite cousins. And you know, here to come to find out that, you know, they're doing this to me, and they're okay with it, and that they're okay with torturing, you know, that they're okay with, you know, getting money out of hurting people, out of hurting me, you know, of all the people. And then on top of that, then they're trying to steal money and energy from me. You know, like going back to the whole, like the kayak thing. Like she got a blue kayak. Well, I had wanted a blue kayak for ages. And so now that whole thing was just to like try to get me to be jealous. You know, and it's kind of funny because I was thinking the other day when I was at the fireworks, I said, seeing all the boats, I said, you want to know something really funny? I didn't really even want a kayak until I saw all these pictures of kayaks. All of a sudden, all these people had kayaks. It was never even my thought process. I always wanted a boat. I always wanted like a sunfish or, oh my gosh, a Flying Scot, which is like a 20-foot yacht thing. That's when I took sailing classes ages ago. I was like, what, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. And learned how to sail back then. I'd always wanted a boat, whether it was a sunfish or a Flying Scot, something like that, to go on, you know, boating with. Anyway, so then of course I saw all these houseboats when I was at the 4th of July, and I was like, well, that would be kind of cool, you know, to have a houseboat and to live on a houseboat instead of living in an apartment, or instead of living, you know, especially in a crummy apartment. Or instead of, you know, living in a house like on land. And you know, I mean, I'm still considering it. It's still something to consider, but it's the point of the matter. But it was the whole point that it was like, this is so unbelievably petty. It's ridiculous. And the fact that they're trying to use a boat, the fact that she's working a $25 an hour job, which is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I'm supposed to have a decent paying job by now, working in healthcare, maybe as a holistic physician. And the only reason why this is happening is because, you know, they're out for those that are, you know, like, if you've read in the news, all the holistic physicians that they've tried to harm, all the, you know, anyone that's promoting anything that's halfway decent, they're like, well, they hate it and they're trying to hurt it or hurt those people. It's like, well, what if those people are your family? What if those people are people that you care about? Then what? Are you, you know, and it goes back to the whole money thing, because that's all it's about. You know, are you more interested in getting money than protecting something that's so sacred? You're more interested you're more interested in harming that which is natural to this earth than stopping and saying, okay, you know what, maybe I should step back a second, because a lot of the shit that they're doing is unnatural, you know, and it's not godly. You know, hurting other people for hurting people, period, is not godly. Hurting people for the sole purpose of money is not godly. When you know, are going out of your way to harm another human being just so that you can get money, it's not okay. Taking, you know, what's supposed to be theirs is not okay, just because you feel inferior or feel like you can't get what you want, or whatever the case may be. And I was never, you know, and they keep, naturally, of course, they try to distort all of this and turn it around. Lately, they've been trying to turn everything back around on me, and it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. I'm not the problem. I've been trying to, you know, it's kind of ironic too, because my entire life I've been like, I can't share all these, you know, issues with other people. I can't share the problems that I have, or the things that are going wrong in my life with other people, because I feel like I'm burdening other people. So, you know, it's like, are you serious? You know, I've tried to keep you at arm's length to protect you on some level, and also to protect me. And, you know, then you want to turn around and you want to try to use it against me just for gain, just for monetary or materialistic gain. And it's like, I just can't believe you guys right now. I can't believe that you're, you know, so interested in trying to shove yourselves in my face. I haven't seen you for years, and that was the other thing. And I finally said to myself, you want to know something? It's probably just as well that I hadn't come down to visit them for years, you know, and I wanted to, and I felt bad. I felt guilty for the longest time for not going around to see my family. Now I'm reconsidering, like, you know, want to know something? It's probably a good thing I didn't. I mean, if they're going to behave that way, if they're going to behave like a bunch of jerks, why in the heck should I come visit you? You know? I mean, I'll be honest, it's kind of funny. Like, almost every time I go to see family members, there's always some kind of a drama. I mean, I know that that's a given, but I really am not, I do not like conflict. I don't like drama. I'm pretty quiet. I'm pretty easygoing. And so, and I hate it. I can't stand, like, let's just get mad over teeny tiny, stupid, petty shit. That's how they are. And I can't stand it. I can't do that. I can't do it. Can't do it, won't do it. You know, if I'm going to get upset, it has to be over something fairly significant, you know, and, yeah, they're just not, it's just, you know, it's just unbelievable that they would resort to such things. It really is. I mean, it's just, I just cannot believe it. And yes, I've turned her name into the FBI. I hate it. I've turned almost all of my family members from that side of the family into the FBI. At this rate, I mean, it'll probably continue, because I'm sure I'll probably find more people, more friends, and more family that are probably doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and I'll probably have to turn all of them in as well. I mean, it's like, when does it stop? I feel like I'm going to have to turn in half the planet to the FBI before they stop doing crazy stuff, and it's like, when are you guys going to stop? When are you guys going to realize that, you know, hurting, and it's not just now, it's in this era, it's been, again, for thousands of years. And it's like, I cannot believe that you guys, you know, even after thousands of years, that you still haven't learned that this isn't okay. You can't control people this way. It doesn't matter what you do, you cannot control another human being. And that was the other thing. Like, her trying to get me to go to Wilmington, or University of North Carolina, Wilmington. That's been the biggest thing with them. They keep trying to get me to go down to Wilmington, because that is, you know, part of their whole setup. I don't have no idea what is planned for me. I mean, I'm certain I have an idea what there's planned for me down there, obviously. But, you know, it's like, no. Wilmington was never a part of my plan anyway. God never had obviously never had a plan for me to come down here to Wilmington, because if it, you know, hadn't been for these jerks, I wouldn't be down here right now. I'd be somewhere else entirely. Whether it was North Carolina, whether it was, you know, some other country, whether it was Oregon. I mean, I would love to go back to Oregon. I miss Oregon a lot. I miss it. And, you know, of course, they're over here, they're like, oh, well, let's just play with your mind, and let's just stick this crazy crap on your head, and let's just do all kinds of crazy things to you to make you, you know, lately they've been trying to, you know, push these things to try to get me to forget what I enjoy, or who I am, and so on and so forth. I'm never going to forget that. I'm never going to forget who I am. I'm always going to remember who I am. I'm always going to remember what I enjoy. And, you know, and everything. And it's just, like I said, it's just amazing to me that they just don't, it's like there's a part of me that wonders, you know, do they remember who they are? Because I think somewhere along the way, maybe they forgot who they are. You know, maybe somewhere along the way, they, don't mind me, I'm just like, they're constantly poking at my head now, and they got all kinds of crazy stuff that they're trying to, you know, speak over me or push onto me and so on. It's not fun, because I feel all kinds of pressure in different parts of my head, pressure all over the place. And lately it's been my knee that they've been playing with, or poking different parts into my head to try to see what I'm thinking, or see what I'm doing, or, you know, again, just invade my privacy and do illegal things to me that they shouldn't be doing to begin with. And that's the other thing. It's like, I cannot believe that my cousin is involved in doing something so illegal, that is involved in a crime against humanity, not just myself, but how many other people. And that's just been, for me, more than anything else, it's just been, you know, it's not okay. It's not okay to know that she's doing that to me. It's not okay to know that she might be even doing it to other people. Just because she might feel inferior. You know, it's like, why don't you talk about that? Why don't you get over that inferiority? Why don't you get over whatever fear it is that's holding you back? And that was the other thing. Like, that, you know, I mean, I prayed for her. You know, for the longest time. She wanted to get, she wasn't doing very well. She had her GED. I prayed like the Dickens. Because I saw a person that was hurting. I was like, that's my cousin. I love my cousin. I want her to do well. So I prayed like the Dickens, you know, praying that she would have a better life, you know, and get out of whatever situation that she was in. And then she ended up doing a complete turnaround. She went off, went to school. She, you know, is living an entirely different life now than she was, making $25 an hour now versus making, what is it, like minimum wage at Lane Bryant. And, or whatever wage she was making there. I don't know how much she was making there, but obviously it wasn't a whole lot. Has a boyfriend that they're practically, I don't know if they're going to be married or not. Maybe they will. Who knows? Has pets. Has a whole other family that she can count. You know, just was able to go off and do a mission trip and so on and so forth. And I'm like, this is awesome to see from someone that had been hurting for so long and not getting anywhere. And I prayed for that. But then she wants to turn around and torture me for that? Does that make any sense? You know, and I mean, it's the same thing for all of them. It's like, I've done nothing but try to help all of you in some way, shape, or form. I've done nothing but pray like the Dickens for all of you in some way, shape, or form. To do better, to have better lives, to be happier, whatever it is. And yet they want to turn around and they want to torture me for that. Does that make any sense to anybody? They want to just try to take from me, my energy, my money, whatever the case. It's like, are you serious? What is wrong with you? Are you psycho? You're psycho. If you want to do that to somebody that cares about you and wants to see you to do well. And deliberately. I mean, it's one thing if you make a mistake and you know, might say or do things that maybe you shouldn't. But it's another thing entirely if you deliberately seek to harm another human being just for the sole purpose of gain. You know, and I can't, I won't. You know, I won't. I refuse. They keep trying to push me down that road. That's been the other thing lately, is that they keep trying to push me into doing something illegal. Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, well, lately it's been, let's get you to write a check. Let's get you to write a check for an amount that you shouldn't be. Let's get you to go to Walmart, buy something, and then return it to another store and get money for what you're doing. That was a whole idea that was suggested to me by them. That, and it was like, are you serious? So now they're trying to get me, so, you know, of course, I wrote my check for rent, which is kind of iffy right now because you know, obviously I don't have the funds. So now I'm trying to do, you know, treading water, trying to get some money so that I can make sure that check is paid. And of course they're trying to hold it against me, saying, oh, you know, even though you paid your rent, and even though we know that you're trying to find a different way to make money so that you can pay your rent, because they're pissed. They want to, you know, use it against me in any way that they can, and like everybody else that they've tried to hurt or try to make, you know, without funds, or they've tried to, you know, push them out of their homes or whatever else, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, no, that's not me. Never was. God promised me a home. I've had a home all my life. There's no reason for me not to. That's God's promise to me. God's promise to me is to have a home all the time, every day. I mean, this planet is our home. There's no reason for us to not have a home. That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why on a planet that's supposed to be our home, why we have people that are so interested in trying to make people homeless. They're never going to be homeless because they're always going to have a home. But it's the point that it's like, why are you deliberately trying to push people into a place of lack when we are a place of not having a home, when that's already guaranteed to us? You can't do that. You know what I mean? It's like, what planet are you people from? And they think that I'm otherworldly. I'm like, no, wait a minute. No, you guys are otherworldly because you guys don't even know how this planet works, you know, and they're the ones. I mean, I'm serious. It's like, are you serious? That's not even what God said. God said to love one another. He didn't say to try to hurt each other just to get money. He didn't say to hurt each other, period. He didn't say to, try to push people out of their homes. He didn't say to try to steal from other people, so on and so forth. And yet you guys are doing that. And you wonder why I think that you're children of Satan instead of children of God. And then they get mad because I keep telling them, you guys need to repent or else some shit's going to happen. And then, and they're like, of course, having a conniption. They're like, oh, you're just another one of the Bible thumpers. No, dude, this is real. That is part of this planet. This planet is simply this. This is a loving planet. It was made with love. It was built with love. Not corruption, not lack, but love. Love meaning you have everything that you need on this earth. And there's no reason to try to make anyone have anything less. Obviously, balance is necessary, but natural balance is necessary. Not a forced, not anything that's like forced, especially not from some outside, jerk. No. That's not the way that it's supposed to be. And yet they keep trying to push it just because they're afraid. It's like, why don't you just deal with your fear? Why don't you just recognize where that fear, where that inferiority is coming from? It's not coming from me. I'm not the one doing it, and I'm not the one that should be, I shouldn't be penalized for what you guys are afraid of. I shouldn't be harmed just because you're afraid of me or the spirit that lives within me. I shouldn't be harmed just because you feel inferior to that spirit. You need to deal with your own inferiority, whatever that is. Or talk about it, That's what we're supposed to be here for. We're supposed to be here to communicate. We're supposed to be here to talk to one another. We're supposed to be here to work things out with one another, and of course, instead they'd rather push all these burdens onto people and expect them to walk around with them for their entire life, which is essentially what's happened to me. And it's like, no, it's not okay. It's just not okay. Why would you continue to try to do that to people when it's not even helping you? You know what I mean? And it goes back to the whole thing where these entities are trying to feed off of our energy. Obviously, they need us to work and to be giving off some kind of negative energy for them to exist. And it's kind of like, no, that's not going to work for you either. Because if everyone's working off of negative energy, no one's going to be on this planet. We have to have some positive energy. So I'm going to continue to remain positive, first of all. Secondly, that's who I am. I don't need to change who I am or how I am just because you think you need to be powerful. I don't need to be afraid of whatever it is that you keep trying to do. Just because you think you need to have some sort of power, which is again false. As I've said so many times, it's false power that they have. And it's like, and yesterday they tried to suffocate me while I was driving down the car just because I was trying to find a way to get money to get the heck out of Jacksonville. And that was the whole other reason why my mother contacted me today, just to make sure that I was still at the same address, the same crummy address that I don't want to be at. Just so they could get their money. They don't care about my well-being. They just want money. I just need to make sure you're at that address so I can make sure I'm getting paid. This is my mother, my mom, the one that gave birth to me, supposedly anyway. I mean, at this point, I kind of feel like I'm adopted. I had thoughts about that when I was younger. I kind of feel like that must be the truth. It's like one of those things, like, are you serious? And they have the audacity to call me the BITCH, of all people. It's like, are you serious? You guys need to look at yourselves in the mirror somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You need to stop and think about what you guys are doing, because it should be the other way around. I should be saying that about all of you because you're all acting that way. But I'm not. So what does that say? You know? I mean, I don't have any problem telling people, you know, what's in, you know, telling people what exactly that they're doing and what they are, how they're behaving. But to sit there and call me a name just because I'm being kind, just because I'm just enjoying life, it's like, how immature can you be? How freaking immature can you be? Do you guys have Tourette's? That's how I feel, because it's all the time, all day long. It's been S-H-I-T, B-I-T-C-H, you know, just constant, like left and freaking right. It's like, do you guys say any other words? And then the moment that I have a moment of happiness, the moment that I have a moment to think about entirely different thoughts, I get excited, because I was excited about doing the survey thing that I thought was going to, you know, help me out, and come to find out they don't have any, you know, surveys for me right now to do. And I thought maybe that would be a way to help make up the money that I need so that I can get on, you know, make sure that this check is paid and so on. And of course, you know, they didn't right away. I hope that they will. I really do. But, you know, it's just the point that it's like, I just, you know, in those moments of, like, you know, just being so happy and having other thoughts, thinking about other things, you know, the other memories that I had, and for them to behave in such a way, like, you know, it was just in that moment that it was like, all I've been hearing is S-H-I-T and B-I-T-C-H all day long, and it's finally nice to have some thoughts that have nothing to do with that language. You know what I mean? It really is. It was just a wonderful, like a breath of fresh air. It's like when I talk about God and I feel his presence, and it's like just talking about him alone is huge, because then I feel like I can feel, you know, like I just feel so much better, versus then the energy that they're trying to pull me into. And it's like, no, I don't want your stupid energy. I don't want the crap that you keep trying to, you know, just shovel out onto other people all the time. I don't like that. You know, I've tried to be kind. I've tried to be kind in so many ways, and share so much positive energy with so many people, and to share, you know, so many positive ways for people to move on. And here they are, they're like, they just dump all over everybody all the time, and even behind their backs. And it's like, are you serious? You guys have anything else to say? You guys have anything else to think about? I don't like that mentality. I just don't. It's not okay. And it again goes back to the whole hive mind thing, which is really ironic, because they keep trying to, you know, make me out to be hive minded, but I'm not, because I refuse to have that negative